What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to the Dodgers Nation post-game show after the Dodgers win. Unclench those butt cheeks. The Dodgers are fine. The cameraman got a little crazy there. A little Steiner job right there. That was some warning track power even at Coors Field. But the Dodgers get the W. Are now home with Jim Beam and Dodgers Nation. Please remember to drink responsibly. Dodgers, they get the win, and they continue to roll. That's their third shutout in their last 6 games. The Dodgers now still, they pick up a half game on the Diamondbacks. They're currently 2.5 games back of the D-backs, but the D-backs are currently up right now, but LA improves to 44-34. Big stories tonight, of course. Clayton Kershaw flirting with a no-hitter. Kershaw twirled a gem. He was phenomenal. He goes 6 innings, allowed just 1 hit, no earned runs, of course. 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 79 pitches, 53 for strikes, 9 ground ball outs, and 4 fly balls. So you see the strikeout numbers, they weren't explosive. The swing and miss numbers, they weren't explosive. When you consider how that slider was able to generate those ground ball outs, the curveball, he was fantastic. He was phenomenal, and we wait on an update from Dave Roberts because as he was leaving, he told Dave Roberts he was done after 79 pitches. So we'll find out what is the status of Clayton Kershaw. My guess, my hope at the very least, is that he was just fatigued, a little tired with that thin air at Coors Field. That, to me, is my hope. But I think one of my big takeaways from this game is Clayton Kershaw is absolutely 100% all-star. I think he can absolutely make a case that he should be starting the all-star game for the second time in as many years, and I think you can start that Clayton Kershaw, Cy Young campaign. Forget it. Change the name from the Cy Young to the Clayton Kershaw, okay? Clayton Kershaw should absolutely be in the mix for his 4 Cy Young. He should already have 4 Cy Youngs, for being quite honest. He should have that over R.A. Dickey there in 2012. That, to me, was an absolute travesty. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But also, you got to get J.D. Martinez. Tons of credit, too. 2 home runs for J.D. Martinez. Congratulations to J.D. Gets his 300th home run. He got a 2-run shot off of a C bowl there in the 3rd inning, and then he took Brad Hand yard there in the 6th. So he hits a dong off Brad Hand for a solo shot. So J.D. Martinez, he's been fantastic, slashing 259, 305, 582, 18 bombs and 133 weighted runs created plus. He's been fantastic. That's second in the league, second in the National League when it comes to slugging percentage. But yeah, Kershaw, he really is the story of today's game. We're going to talk about Muncy's defense. We're going to talk about the bullpen, who continues to put up zeros, save for Phil Bickford, 3 walks there, and definitely wasn't sharp, but Evan Phillips came in and he got the save. But Kershaw, he gets the win. He improves to 10-4, and I look at Kershaw's numbers, he's 3rd in the National League with a 2.55 ERA behind Bryce Elder of the Braves and Marcus Stroman of the Cubs. Let's get down to your comment section. Give me your big takeaways. What are your big takeaways from tonight's Dodgers win? LA gets the win 5-0, their 3rd shutout in 6 games. And also, I'm looking for that Jorrito shot taker's comment of the game. If I get that comment of the game, you're going to see one of these. We got Diane Schroeder. Hello, Dodgers Nation. D-Mac. What up, Diane Schroeder? We got I keep rooting for Phil like an idiot. That's from Matty Man Dodge. Yeah, we're going to talk about Phil Bickford, who definitely, look, that's why you have a guy like Phil Bickford, who has been pitching better of late since he returned from the injury. But yeah, that definitely was some cause for concern, especially when you're 1 pitch away from possibly making a 1-run game to one of the worst teams in the league. And definitely, I know your heart stopped right there because a little trickery there, a little Steiner job. Everyone, it just did not have the sound. I mean, always listen to the sound. That is when you know it is the sound, the crack of the bat. It just did not have that sound. But on the same token, it is Coors Field. Coors Field is one of the worst places in the world as far as baseball play. I'd rather go to the DMV 7 days a week than go to Coors Field. So, I mean, it's a pretty ballpark, don't get me wrong. But yeah, Phil Bickford, since returning, had gone 3 innings, allowing 2 earned runs so far. But yeah, it wasn't his best night. But let's get to that comment section here, guys. I heard a rumor, a trade for Scherzer. Just say hell to the no. That's from Charles Lee. Yeah, I'm going to go crazy with the trade rumor videos. We're dropping one about Andrew McCutchen, who, if you remember a few months ago, I said, I want to see the Dodgers go after Andrew McCutchen. At the time, the Pirates, they were having a lot of success, and I said, it's the Pirates. They're going to come down to earth. They're going to get that taste of reality, and they're reeling at the moment. I think Andrew McCutchen makes a lot of sense, primarily a DH, 55 out of 62 games, but he matches lefties, provides some power. I think he'd be a great addition. I think they definitely need a right-handed bat. There's no question about that. I think also you could look for a starting pitcher. Max Scherzer, though, after everything, I think you look at the contract he has, I don't think it makes a ton of sense. I mean, He did say Max Scherzer, and we're going to break down this game, but you baited me into it, so might as well give what you want. Max Scherzer did say that he would. There are some rumors out there that Max Scherzer would be willing to waive his no-trade clause. And, of course, you know that he pitched so well with the Dodgers. He was fantastic down the stretch until his arm passed away in the Braves series and then came back to life just in time to sign that massive deal that he signed with the New York Mets, where basically the Mets were just absolutely outbidding themselves at that point because the Dodgers, they were rumored to offer him a contract around 2 years, $73 million, something in that range. He ends up signing a 3-year, $130 million deal. So you're talking about an AAV of $43.3 million. I'm not so sure about that with Max Scherzer this year, though. I mean, look, a 3.95 ERA, a 4.13 FIB, strikeout rates 26.2%, 70 2/3 innings. Maybe if they want to go that route, I'd much rather have Scherzer back than bring in Justin Verlander, though. I'll tell you that much. We got Revio1. What up, Revio1 over on YouTube? Bickford needs to go. We got but Hugh Morris, you're going to get me laughing this one. You got Hugh Morris said, more like Phil Ball for. Okay, that's a Hornito shot taker comedy. But I love Phil Bickford too. Love me some Phil Bickford, but that is definitely a fire take on top of that. Yeah, I mean, look. Phil Bickford is a guy that occasionally, when he has the run on the 2-seam, when he's working the fastball correctly, when he has his off-speed stuff, and he's got that slider happening, yeah, he can go out there and be effective. But, yeah, I mean, that's why you have a guy like that with a 5-run lead. And the good news is rarely do teams come back from a 5-run lead, even when it's on the road against this Colorado Rockies team that they're absolutely abysmal. I mean, 31-50 on the season. But, yeah, I mean, you saw... I mean, he walked McMahon. I mean, just no command with that 4-seam fastball during that at bat. He struck out Tovar with the 4-seam fastball. Then he walked Profar on 4 pitches, missing with that 4-seam fastball, really pulling badly there, glove side. And then he walked Jones, and in that count, he got up ahead 0-2, was ahead with the slider, and then he ends up throwing 4 straight balls, and he just had no fastball command. And sometimes that gets to pitchers. They don't have the feel. You don't have the command when you're in Colorado, and it's unfortunate. But, yeah, Phil Bickford, the good news is they don't think he's going to be a high-leverage guy. They don't expect him to be a high-leverage guy. They want him to be a guy that can eat innings occasionally, be the back of your bullpen guy. When everyone gets healthy, he's most likely going to be the odd man out at some point. So I wouldn't waste too much bandwidth on Phil Bickford because the reality is he just doesn't have big expectations for this team. He's not going to play a big role for this team. And, yeah, that's a situation where you got to thank J.D. Martinez, right, for hitting 2 home runs. You got to thank James Outman. How about showing James Outman some love? We're going to break down Kershaw's whole start in just a second. Also, if you get any information on Clayton Kershaw, let me know down below what Dave Roberts and him have to say after the game. We got Rob Marvin, do not trade Diego Cartaya. Yeah, Rob, I think for Cartaya, it's only for a massive, massive haul. I mean, you're talking about a premier player that's under contract, that's not a rental for at least 1 or 2 more seasons, or a guy that you feel comfortable bringing in that would sign long term. If the St. Louis Cardinals and the Dodgers had better history, they don't like to deal, okay? The Cardinals and Dodgers, they're not natural trade partners, but let's say they were, and you could maybe swing a deal for Nolan Arenado. That's something that maybe you consider doing for a player like a Diego Cartaya. You only use those top shelf players when you really want to cash in, when you want to take out all that money from the 401k and say, we are going to win now. We are confident that we have the other pieces. You're looking at a last piece of a puzzle for a team that you feel confident they can go after a World Series, or you're going after a guy that you think with full confidence is going to be here not just for the remainder of this season, but seasons to come, and guys you think you have mutual interest in getting a deal done for a star talent. So I'm in agreement with you. At the same token, Diego Cartaya, yeah, and I heard that, yeah, I mean, he's got to be difficult. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, one thing I heard from a scout recently was one thing that's great about this Dodgers organization is one thing they tell their players is, yeah, you're wearing that Dodgers uniform, right? But you're always auditioning for 30 other teams, right? You're always looking to impress other teams. Just look at what happened with Andre Jackson, got picked up by the Pirates, right? You're in this Dodgers organization and you get picked up. So that's something to keep in mind. And when you're a number 1 prospect for a premier team that is blocked by the best catcher in baseball, in my opinion, when it comes to overall value offensively and defensively combined at Will Smith, yeah, it has to creep into your mind. But I heard a rumor about Justin Verlander. We got unable to. We got Phil Big Turd. Wow, you guys going hard on Phil Bickford today.
Finish him.
I like to call him Thin Thor or Diet Thor. But Santa Maria, 805 in the house for Ruben Moreno. By the way, if you're new to the show, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, smash that like button for Clayton Kershaw, who was phenomenal, absolutely fantastic. And like I said, start the Kershaw for Cy Young campaign. Start it now. You should already have 4 Cy Youngs. Really could make the case you should have won it in 2015 too, but 2012 was an absolute rob job with R.A. Dickey. They love this story. It was a guy who found a knuckleball to save his career. Kershaw was a superior pitcher by essentially every single metric, save for overall strikeouts. But we need a Dodgers closer, period. That's from Edward Ramos. Yeah, I think this is a situation tonight where you wouldn't have had your closer out there in a 5-run lead against a team that is as bad as the Rockies are. But yeah, I think eventually you are going to see the Dodgers commit to either Evan Phillips, who has 10 saves, Daniel Hudson, when he gets his feet wet and really gets some more opportunities under his belt. I can see him getting a lion's share of those saves. Or you go out there and you trade for a closer, trade for a guy you trust in a situation like that. But love Kerr Dog. He's like the Bulldog. Jason Woods, that sounds to me like Kershaw's your Dodger dog of the game. Let me know who's your Dodger dog of the game. And of course, that is the award for who had the most dog in them tonight. That does go to Clayton Edward Kershaw.
Dodger dog of the game.
We got unable to join tonight. You're the best DMAC trade for Michael Kopech. Oh, Troy Heyman. Hey, he's included in one of my next videos. So, AB, Doug, I joined your live and my wife saw you. Now she's leaving me in hopes to be with you. AB, why are you wilding? But that's maybe. That makes me laugh, though. That's a Hornitos shot taker comment of the night, if I've ever seen one. Hey, no, Abe, I'm sure you're a very nice gentleman. Your wife wouldn't leave you for anyone, okay? I mean, come on now. Maybe Gabe Kapler, but that's about it. Matty Man Dodge, you were right. You were sure right about the Padres. Matty Man 5 Dodge. Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to win. Look, the season's very long. It is the absolute marathon. It's a gauntlet of a season, and you're going to see teams get off to good starts, but we don't have the depth in the bullpen. We don't have the depth in the starting rotation. That's when you're going to start to see teams fall off. We got Cody Cemento. What's up, D-Mac? What up, Cody? We got Cody Phillips as closer. He's my Dodger dog of the night. So that's your Dodger dog. So I'll get you one too.
Dodger dog
I
of the
do
game.
Max Scherzer for Justin Verlander. I do prefer Max Scherzer to Justin Verlander, to be fair. That's from Justin Lamas. Fire Roberts. D-Mac, you the bomb. Edward, my man over on YouTube. Appreciate you. We got Max Scherzer is a mess. That's from Diane Schroeder. Look, I think Max Scherzer at this stage of his career, the only way to get him to be effective, in my opinion, look, he still has a sub-4 ERA. It's not like he's Noah Syndergaard territory or anything like that. He still showed swing and miss stuff. He has had some flashes of the Max Scherzer, the multi-time Cy Young Award winner. And to me, you look at the best 3 pitchers of the generation, I go Kershaw by a mile, then Scherzer, then Verlander. So I think there's no doubt about it that if he did get back in Dodger blue, I don't see, because it's contractually, you still have the rest of this year where he's owed $43.3 million, and you're going to chop that already in a quarter, right? Because we're almost midway through the season. And then you look at next year, $43.3 million. I mean, that's not a lot. And when you consider the fact, I mean, it is a lot, but it's never been about the money year by year for the Dodgers. It's truly about the years. It's not about the year by year, the AAV. They'll pay you money annually. Just look at Trevor Bauer, the $102 million deal for 3 years. They were fine with that. They just don't like to give you 5, 6, 7, 8 years, especially for a starting pitcher. And look, the fact they did offer Scherzer 2 years, $72 million at one point lets you know that there was some interest there. TV Cameraman is the dog of the night. That's from LOL. We got Jason Diamond. I always got to send in comments. Fire Roberts, Jason Diamond. Do you? Like I said, the number one rule for this show is this is the people's show. This is your show. I'm the man of the fans. Your show. I'm just hosting it. Is even if we disagree, this is a place, this is a safe space. This is the triangle of trust for you guys to get all your Dodger takes out, even if I disagree. And honestly, disagreeing makes for good YouTube, right? For good TV. But Strider, here you 120. D-Mac Kershaw was good. Despite not striking out a lot of batters, he was efficient, and Will Smith did a good job behind the plate. I was very upset when Dave took out Kershaw after 6 innings. Yeah, we're going to see what the scoop was on that, because look, I mean, Kershaw has stayed in games longer. I mean, he's a guy that's made 4 starts this year where he's going above 7 innings. So I don't think that was the case. I mean, the pitch count was fine. You're at 79 pitches. I do think fatigue was a factor. And also, you don't want to get the burnout for Kersh. You definitely are thinking about the finish line. You're not thinking about an essentially meaningless game in the middle of, at the end of June against the Colorado Rockies. But his last start, he was phenomenal. I mean, you're talking about a Clayton Kershaw who is absolutely, he's going to win Pitcher of the Month again. He is going to win Pitcher of the Month again in the National League. I think at this point, when you look at the performance that he's put together, he's just been outstanding. I mean, He's been incredible. Look at this. Kershaw, he's allowed 4 runs in 33 innings this month. He has a 1.09 ERA in June, a 1.09 ERA in June. 1 earned run in his last 26 and a thirds innings of work. I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the ball's in play today. Like you said, he was quick, he was efficient, he was attacking hitters. And, yeah, I think the only question tonight was, what did you guys think about the hit? What did you guys think about the hit by Doyle? I mean, Max possibly could have extended his arm a little more. He's not the most athletic third baseman in the world, but yeah, I think it was a tough play. I mean, if you look at the play, Doyle, it was a 490 expected batting average, not the hardest hit ball, but yeah, I mean, he still faced the minimum because for some strange reason, Doyle, by the way, you're going to have to explain this to me. I almost blacked out. I was like, you are trying to steal second in a 5-run deficit right there. So Kershaw was still able to face the inning. So 18 batters came up for the Rockies. That's how many it took for them to get a hit off of Clayton Kershaw and end up being the number 9 hitter there, Brenton Doyle. He breaks up Clayton Kershaw's no-hit bid there in the 6th inning. A 2-2 pitch. Got the curveball there. Just not as much sharp depth on it. That's sometimes what you see when you're pitching at the Mile High Stadium. D-Mac, where's Miguel Vargas? Joe Mama. Yeah, I'm still with Miggy, man. I mean, look at what we saw with James Outman, who got to give a lot of credit to. We talked about J.D. Martinez and what he was able to do with the 2 home runs, and he was fantastic, provide the pop for this Dodgers offense, but it was all started by James Outman. So give James Outman the credit there. He's looking so much better at the plate, so much more relaxed, so much more comfortable, just trying to keep that short, compact swing, get the bat on the ball. Don't worry about the slug. If you get the hard contact, the slug will come naturally. That's what hitting coaches will tell you. When you try to slug, you're not going to slug. It's when you try to make contact and hit the ball hard, stay within your mechanics. That's when you're going to have the results and have the success. And James Outman continues to build on some positive momentum. He goes 2 for 4 tonight, batting in the 8th hole. He provided the Dodgers offense early on. He got them on the board there in the 1st inning. In the 2nd inning, after a Muncy walk, J.D. Martinez flied to right for the 1st out. Peralta then doubled to center. Muncy advanced to 3rd. Hayward was hit by a pitch. And the next batter, James Outman, 3-2 count. He ends up hitting a slider to right field for a single. That gave the Dodgers a 1-0 lead. And the next batter, Miguel Rojas, he hit a sac fly to right to give the Dodgers a 2-0 lead. So early offense for the Dodgers, that's what you want to see. Miguel Rojas, who did some very interesting things too. I mean, I saw a lot of things that I haven't seen in a while. I pretty much watch baseball every day of the regular season, a lot of the spring training as well. But I mean, I saw some very interesting things. The Doyle steal attempt there, down 5-0 with 2 outs. How about the pop-up slide from Miguel Rojas tonight in a play that most likely would have gone as a single if he just runs through the back? I mean, sometimes you see the head first slide, but a pop-up slide, I can't recall seeing that very many times. But Hanser, greater than signed Bickford. You guys are giving Bickford hell. That's from Jose over on YouTube. We got Go Dodgers. We got John Wilcox. Mookie over 5, trying to hit homers instead of just getting on base. That's from John Wilcox. Yeah, not a great night for Mookie Betts. Not a great night for Mookie Betts at all. Just not seeing the ball, not putting good swings on him. Ends up, like you said, going over 5. And, yeah, just didn't have his best night. And also he goes 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. So Mookie had some opportunities. The team as a whole with runners in scoring position ends up going 1 for 6. He left 5 Dodgers on the pond today. But, yeah, it just was not Mookie's best night. I mean, you guys know I'm a big Marcus. This is a big Mookie Betts household here. Okay, we love us some Marcus Lynn Betts. But tonight just wasn't his best night. Like I said, he goes 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. And yeah, a little frustration there for Mookie, but yeah, you end up scoring 5 runs after the team averaged 4 runs per game last week. I mean, that's a 1-run improvement, so that's definitely something to feel good about. But Betts he was safe there in the 7th inning. Give him credit for hustling on that fielding error by McMahon. And yeah, just not a great night for Mookie Betts. Some other opportunities that he had there in the 4th inning, Hayward hit the leadoff double to right. Outman flied to left for the 1st out. Then Rojas, he grounded short for the 2nd out. Then with Hayward at 3rd, Mookie Betts a 2-1 count, hitter count, slider, a pitch we've seen him get good swings on, put good swings on, and hit for contact and definitely do damage to. He ends up flying out, just missed it. So, yeah, just not his best night. But what did you guys make of the hit that ended the no-hit bid for Clayton Kershaw? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Muncy could have made a play on it? Because, look, Muncy, he definitely made some really nice plays to kind of save the no-hitter, to preserve it, some hard contact that went his way. earlier, but I want all your takes on some of those plays there that put to end the Brenton Doyle single there in the 6th inning. But let me know down below. Unfortunately, Phil Bickford has no value as a trade piece. That is from Bullet TC. Justin Lamas, or send us Nimmo with Scherzer. We need a center fielder. That's from Justin Lamas. You're trying to go big game hunting there. Conservative Zach, don't think Bickford should be closing ball games. That's from Conservative Zach. King Kirsch is the dog of the game. That's from Joe Mama. Yeah, another thought on just the Max Scherzer deal is Stephen Cohen isn't hurting for cash. You're talking about the second richest owner in sports behind Steve Ballmer. He's not hurting for cash, so he likes the name of Max Scherzer. So even though the season hasn't worked out for the mighty Mets, or the not so mighty Mets, I should say, they're more like the LOL Mets this season, you would have to assume that he still wants to see him out on that contract in hopes that, yeah, I mean, you also have Justin Verlander. I like it. What I remember the nickname I gave them at the beginning of the season. I called them the Ace RP, right? You got those two guys kind of in the back nine of their career, let's just say. This was pretty much expected as far as, yeah, they weren't going to be lights out, peak of their prime aces during this stretch run. So, yeah, I just don't anticipate that. But I do think that maybe it could be mutual. Maybe Max Scherzer is unhappy there. I could see them working something out and him facilitating a trade. And I wouldn't rule out the Texas Rangers. I think the Texas Rangers are a team that they're very aggressive. They want to win. They lost Jacob deGrom for possibly his career. I mean, we'll see what he has left in his career after he signs that $185 million deal. So I would not rule out the Texas Rangers too. But D-Mac, what up, Cowboy? 5 rings. Bickford never has command. Paul Spencer, yeah, today he was wilder than a frat party during rush week. I mean, yeah, he just did not have the fastball command on that 4-seam. Phil Bickford is going to be DFA'd soon as he runs out of options. That's from Justin Lamas. Hot take, Bush plays a better third base than Muncy. That's from Ad Holland 14. Look, I mean, Michael Bush is never going to be a guy that's going to be a top-end defender. That's true. Max Muncy is a guy that has improved tremendously at first base. He's a guy that, if you look at the metrics, they are down as in the 8th percentile and outs above average. And look, this is a guy that was rounding into being a Gold Glove caliber first baseman, and he was a team player. Of course, it's Freddie Freeman, right? So you're going to definitely be unseat when it's Freddie franchise, Frederick Savali coming to L.A. But also, last year he had some issues at second base, and then he takes on third base. I talked to Muncy before the season. He told me that that's where he feels most comfortable. And here's the rub on Max Muncy. He's never going to be elite. I mean, the play that kind of sticks into my mind is the Ha-Sung Kim double down the line there in Game 4 of the NLDS last year. Plays like that. Plays down the line. Struggling with that backhand range and just making plays. But, yeah, I would say to that, as long as he's performing as a guy that's providing pop and providing slug, then you feel good about it. But when he's not doing that, he's not going to give you very much value defensively with the glove. So there's that. And I think, yeah, he had been struggling even before he went on the IL. I mean, heading into today, he was hitting 191, had 18 home runs. That was tied for the 6th most in the senior circuit with a 115 weighted runs created plus. But in his last 20 games heading into today, he had a 42 weighted runs created plus, hitting just 135 in his last 20. Tonight, didn't do very much at the plate. Hey, it's his first game back. You can't really fault him too much for that. And he ends up going 0 for 3. Had the 1 walk. So, yeah, it wasn't his greatest night at the plate. It's not a game I would send to the Hall of Fame if I was Max Muncy. But, yeah, what is your takes on his defense? So I'm going to go rapid fire on the questions here. Screw Bickford, crack Thor. Kershaw is Zaddy from DKM. Get rid of Bickford. We got Hi, my bro. What up, Bernard? D-Mac, Kershaw was good despite not striking out a lot of batters. He was efficient. And Will Smith did a good job behind the plate. I was very upset when he took him out. Thank you, brother. Together forever. We got my wife calls him Big Turd. That's from J Bullet TC. Kershaw for Dodger Dog of the game. Gallegos from the Cardinals. It's just tough. I mean, there's just not a mutual. I mean, it's possible. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could help you. Jordan Montgomery, Tommy Edman. There's names that guys that could help you on the Cardinals. It's just we'll see if they're natural trade partners. I mean, the guy that I'm really feeling right now, if we can get as far as a bullpen piece, and I talked about this on last night's Blue Heaven, is Keynan Milton of the White Sox. I mean, he is lights out. He has strikeout, swing and miss stuff. So, yeah, Keynan Middleton is definitely a name that I would definitely keep my eye on. And also, too, I think you can't roll out a Lucas Giolito. I think they're going to need another starting pitcher. I think if they do not go out there and make a trade for a starting pitcher, whether it's a Lucas Giolito, whether it's a Max Scherzer like you're talking about, whether it's a Shane Bieber, where are my believers at? hey, this team is going to struggle because even though some guys are performing, you're getting Julio Urias back. We've seen in the past, we've seen how this movie ends before, that even if you get one or two guys that are still able to perform well, at some point injuries, they're going to absolutely probably hurt your starting rotation. Maybe they take away one guy. In a perfect world, you don't have any injuries, but still, I think you need the contingency plan. You need to protect yourself in the event that some guy does go down. You can never have enough starting pitching. We got JD 300, Kershaw at the game. We got, Doug, news update on Clayton Kershaw. He left the game. Oh, there you go. So that's what I was hoping for. That was fatigue. So there you go, Joe Bennett. It's just fatigue. Let's all breathe. He was fatigued. It's Coors. It's Colorado. You got the elevation. Guys get tired there. So it's that's just how it is, man. So that's definitely good to hear. And it's also good to hear that I mean, you know that Dave Roberts is probably happy about that, right? He's like, yes, I get to take someone out. Woo, let's go. So, so I mean, that's just kind of the name of the game. But here we go. Back in the comment section. Here we got a Dodger for the win, watching the show live on the VR chat. Oh, that's awesome, Retro Yuki. Just dingers for Dodger Dog of the Day from Deborah Young. Zeppelin 27901. Sorry, D-Mac, but not a World Series game. Can't win a World Series with only home runs. A weak bullpen and starters made of glass. Rebuild in 2024 and go all in. Wow, you're really thinking the long game. I still think offensively this team has enough pieces. They have enough starting pitching as far as if you bring in one starting pitcher, you bring in one elite bullpen piece or a guy that at least you can trust. How about Ryan Brazier? I mean, he's a guy that I've been seeing. I mean, if you saw the very first video when they signed him, if you look at his metrics, there's a lot that said 97-mile-per-hour fastball, guy that misses barrels, a guy that induces soft contact. The X-slug numbers, they were down. You saw what the Dodgers were after him. They found something in him. But it's not happening. The Giants for the D-backs, though. We got Goldilocks needs to go back to AAA. That's from Ron Jerica. Screw Verlander. That Strider here, you 120. Yeah, I mean, Verlander, yeah. I mean, I'm here for all the Verlander, but wouldn't it be funny for Ben Verlander to have to root for the Dodgers? Because that would be absolutely hysterical. You probably still wouldn't. Opinion on Bush getting sent down for Muncy today at Holland 14. Couple opinions on that are, one, Max Muncy, he's not going to get Wally Pipp. They're not going to have someone take his position just because he's injured. I mean, this guy has 18 home runs. That's 6th in the National League. He was on a stretch earlier in the year where he was being included in early MVP power rankings, okay? Max Muncy is a guy who's performed well in the postseason. He's a guy that really is one of the more respected guys in that clubhouse, so they were never going to send him down in favor of Michael Busch. The only question was, were they going to do something with Miguel Vargas and maybe allow him to go down there and maybe work on that swing a little bit, get his rhythm, get his timing, most importantly, get his confidence back up. That, to me, was the only realistic scenario. And also, Michael Busch having some good games. Michael Busch showing some flashes, hitting doubles, making some nice plays defensively. Maybe for Andrew Friedman, maybe for the Dodgers, you say, okay, why don't we keep that trade value where it is? Why don't we keep that trade value nice and high? We're sending that tape. Scouts are looking at his potential, seeing more pitches, putting together quality at bats. So there's something to that too, because look, I can tell you just from what I know, this organization is very committed to Miguel Vargas. Now, a few days ago, Dave Roberts did open the door and open that window to the idea of Michael Busch getting opportunities in favor of Miguel Vargas. Yes, there is that too. So I'm not really that out, but I think that if you look at their ages, Busch is 25, Vargas is 23. I think the ceiling is higher on Vargas if everything works out. I do think the quality of at bats for Michael Busch is really good, but Michael Busch, had he been hitting 300 and hitting multiple home runs, then maybe you could say, okay, we need to have a serious conversation. As Charles Barkley says, we need to start a dialogue, right? Maybe if that's the case, then you maybe consider it. But Michael Busch, I mean, he still hasn't hit his home run. He still hasn't hit a home run at the big league level. And in the month of June, he was 5 for 26, hitting 192. So it's not like he was tearing the cover off the ball. But, yeah, he was definitely starting to show flashes. In his last game against the Astros, he ended up going 0 for 4. But before that, again on the Saturday game. He goes 1 for 3, had the double, had the walk, and then the Friday game he goes 1 for 2, had the double in the RBI after the James Outman stolen base in second. So definitely showed flashes, and you can see the hit tool there. You can see why he has the potential, but I still think that this made a lot of sense for the Dodgers are trying to do. You're not going to not have Max Muncy back. You're going to try to get him right because he's a guy that's proven that he can get it done in the postseason. That's something that this organization is focused on. Why do you think they went out there and you signed a JD Martinez? And yes, a little long in the tooth. Yes, he's probably, like I said, on the back nine of his career. But JD Martinez is a guy that he's got that 987 postseason OPS. Max Muncy is another guy who has had a walk-off home run in the postseason. If you look at Max Muncy's postseason numbers, he has an 887 postseason OPS with 10 home runs. So, yeah, there's still a lot of potential there. It's just going to take some time. My big concern, though, is does he possibly hurt you defensively in a game? That's the only thing that I can think of when it comes to Max Muncy, because if he's not producing or contributing offensively, he's not going to be producing or contributing defensively very much. It's really you're sacrificing that for his ability. And yeah, you saw the play that he made in the sixth inning, off the bat of Montero, when he grounded to first there in the sixth inning. That a 540 expected batting average. It was 104.9 miles per hour off the bat. So that was hot off the bat, and it was a nice play there by Max Muncy. But let's jump back in the comment section here. Fantastic night for Clayton Kershaw. He was outstanding. He is the player of the game, the Dodger dog of the
Dodger
game.
dog of the game.
Hardly any Dodger games in Sacramento. Dodger blue. Verlander the Dodgers is a terrible rumor. Nando 390. Nando. Always got to say a name like Don Orsillo. But Karax for Cy Young. What's going on with Julio? That's from Edward Ramos. So Julio, he pitched very well, had 8 strikeouts, went 4 innings. He is going to be on his way back. So that to me is really the big that's the biggest development. That's the biggest development for this Dodgers team is the fact that you're getting Julio Urias back, who he is going to pitch Saturday. Dave Roberts said today that he was penciled in for a Saturday start in Kansas City, and he had a really nice job at his rehab start in Rancho. He bounced back very nicely, and Julio Urias is a guy that he is primed and ready to, I said on Blue Heaven, I think he's going to pitch as well as any Dodger on the staff, and I think he's going to pitch lights out for the rest of the year. I think Julio Urias is going to be, like Dave Roberts said today, he's going to be a man on a mission, and I think he's going to be as focused as we've ever seen him. I think his lower body, the injuries were taking its toll. The mechanics were out of whack. I think you're going to see the command improve, and you're going to start to see the Urias once again that is searching for a big bag and wants to go out there and help this team win ball games. I'm confident that Julio comes back and pitches strong for the remainder of the season. But, yeah, 8 strikeouts on 1 hit for Julio yesterday. That's right. We got Kersh told Roberts, I'm done. You can read his lips. The Denver air is tough. Yeah, man, get the guy an oxygen tank, man. Get an oxygen mask, okay? It's 5,200, right? 200 feet above sea level. So Max needs to Bush would have made that play at third. Kevin Uhas fired Doyle. We got I hope Vesia doesn't come out this series. That's from Giza, East LA. Miggy Vargas is pretty good in away games. It seems like conservative Zach. Yeah, Miguel Vargas is flash, man. Miguel Vargas has had a 4-hit game with 3 doubles. As far as is he better road and away? Let me check that for you, man. I like anecdotal takes, but you guys don't like to bring my facts to the fight, so why don't we get to the bottom of that? So home, it's pretty much dead even. Home, he has a 666 OPS, away a 688 OPS, away 5 home runs. At home 2 home runs, so 36 games even split too. We got seeing Muncy back at third base makes me really appreciate Michael Busch's defense at third base, and now back to strikeout Muncy. That is from J-Kid 323. Joe Bennett, Kershaw put himself out due to fatigue. D-Mac, Dodger dog of the game. Thanks, Ruben Moreno. We got Gritty Locks, Goldilocks is the haircut. Tomorrow Mookie will have a leadoff home run watch. That's from G. Giza, East LA. Okay, we're gonna remember that. What about Liam Hendricks as a closer? Thoughts? Yeah, Liam Hendricks. For me, it's just about one, when will the White Sox accept the fact they need to be sellers? And 2, how about his health? Because he was dealing with some elbow discomfort, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Liam Hendricks, I think that feels like a move where you're saying we're going to make a postseason run. We're going to go for it all this season in the World Series. The thing with Liam Hendricks, His strikeout rates are low. He just hasn't looked great. A 5.40 ERA in 5 games since returning, a 5.40 ERA, a 5.27 FIP. So his value isn't tremendous right now. And I think the Dodgers' last thing what they want to do is trade for someone that they don't have full confidence will finish the year, at the very least, stay on the mound. So Nando 390. Muncy is too slow and has shaky defense at third. Kershaw's post-interview said he wasn't feeling very well after getting out. Niners quarterback train wreck, greater than signed Vesia. Ray Barrios. Yeah. Muncy D is worse than Hanley Ramirez. J Kid 323. Muncy not that agile. By the way, how about some props to Hideo Nomo? Props to Hideo Nomo, who still has the record for the only guy who's ever pitched a no-hitter at Coors Field. So I kind of feel, obviously I want him of course, I wanted Kershaw to have that no-hitter. There's no question about that. But September 17th, 1996, Hideo Nomo pitches the no-hitter at Coors Field. That Rockies team had a 343 home batting average. They were one of the best offenses in the league. So, yeah, it's such an improbable feat, such an impressive feat there by Hideo Nomo. And went on to pitch another no-hitter back in 2001 with the Boston Red Sox. So, yeah, no, Clayton Kershaw is not going on the IL. He's going to be fine. The Padres got blown out. That's from Ron Jerica. Yeah, they are reeling. They are definitely, to me, they're the Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, Kobe Laker team, right? All the hype, all the buzz, and they've been a bust so far. Hopefully tomorrow they hit a home run in section 159, and that's where I'm sitting this series. We got D-backs are playing out of their mind, but they will come back to earth. That's from Edward Ramos. Hendricks is injured, and don't we have Phillips, who is excellent. Yeah, I mean, I think that the big question is, look, the big question when it comes to Evan Phillips is, do you want to use him as your guy that is your high leverage guy? Okay, you want him on your on the guy that you want in your high leverage situation. Sometimes the ninth inning isn't in the ninth inning, right? Sometimes it's in the 6th, 7th, and 8th when you're facing the meat of the lineup, when you got runners on base, when you got the top of the order. So that's why you don't want to pigeonhole him in to anything like that. And yeah, as you said, Hendricks is still on the IL. I mean, he's not going to return until the middle of July. I mean, the return date for him is around 7/14. Still dealing with an elbow issue. So yeah, there's that as well. So, yeah, all fair takes. I think Hendricks, you don't want to trade for damaged goods. So, until he comes back, you're that close to the deadline. I mean, you only really have 2 weeks to impress before that August 1st deadline. I just don't see that happening. But just deal for Nolan. He's from the OC. We got Muncy is a mule in a horse race. That's from Roy Estrada. D-backs fall in October. We got I get diarrhea every time the ball is hit towards Muncy. Okay.
Finish him.
That's actually a bruh. Our first bruh of the night. Max Muncy is not an ideal third baseman. We got Muncy getting torched. That's from Franco Bradshaw. 300 home runs from Herman Munster. Congrats. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely one of the stories tonight. We talked about JD Martinez quite a bit earlier. And to me, one of the biggest bargains in the game, a 1-year, $10 million deal. If you look at his isolated power numbers, they are through the roof compared to last season. The power numbers are up across the board. And he was fantastic. We talked about at the top of the show, but yeah, as a DH, he's going to be on the All-Star team. He's going to be on the All-Star team. He's one of the 2 finalists to start the All-Star game. So what a year for JD Martinez. The fact you sign that 1-year deal with the Dodgers, you come home, reunite with Robert Van Scorniak, reunite with your boy Mookie Betts, and you're having a fantastic season. So, yeah, 133 weighted runs created plus. What more could you ask for from JD Martinez? And like I said, you're going to truly see his ability and why they signed him in the postseason, when by that time of the year, he's all the way locked in. And, yeah, he's fantastic. He's just the 156th player in Major League history with 300 bombs. JD just dingers. D-Mac needs to be the setup man. I'll take it.
Finish him.
That's a Mitchell half full take. D-Mac plays. He becomes great. No pass here. He wants to pass a go to Disneyland. That's a good one. D-Mac, can we get Zach Greinke back? LOL Strider, I hear you. Yeah, we're talking about that 2015 season, man. Zach Greinke was absurd. I think Greinke at this point of his career, he's not going to provide very much other than backhand help. So we got the D-Mac loves the White Sox. LOL. J Kid 323. Actually, like some of their players, I want to see them in Dodger blue. I actually root against them as if they're like our biggest rival, because I want the Dodgers to get some of their players. But yeah, Clayton Kershaw led the National League in 2012. He should have 4 Cy Youngs. He led the National League with a 2.53 ERA. That was ahead of R.A. Dickey's 2.73. Led him in WHIP and led him in opponent's batting average. Kershaw should already have 4, possibly 5 Cy Youngs. Do you think Kersh is going to pitch enough innings, pitch enough games, and be good for the entire year to put himself in the Cy Young mix? Because, hey, we know a narrative is what won R.A. Dickey there in 2012, and we also know that Jake Arrieta in 2015 pretty much stole one too. So I think R.A. Dickey in 2012 was a little ridiculous, was extremely ridiculous, absolutely absurd, and Clayton Kershaw should be up there in the 3+ club. There's only 4 pitchers in big league history that have more than 3 Cy Youngs. That's Maddox has 4, Steve Carlton has 4, the big unit Randy Johnson has 5, and Roger Clemens has 7. Yes, a couple of those he was taking steroids out of his gourd, but still a lot of the players were, but doesn't justify it. But sign Chapman, you have to trade for him, but no runs allowed by Kersh in the Mile High pinball machine. Yeah, and he's a guy who's had his issues in Colorado at Coors Field. It was good to see him go out there and pitch well. But yeah, a couple more here, guys. We'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. We'll be back possibly tomorrow, definitely Thursday, but True Blue Reef, I read a comment where they said DFA JD. I don't know what that even meant. How would you do that? But any update on Dustin May, D-Mac? Really nothing from Dustin May at the moment. I mean, they're trying to see when he's going to come back. I mean, of course, he had the PRP shot. The good thing is the UCL, all the tendons were in place. Hopefully, you get him back at some point towards the end of July. I mean, that really is the date where you're starting to wonder, okay, can he come back and contribute this season? Can he avoid surgery? Dave Roberts said at the beginning of the month, he said that he's still weeks away from being cleared to pick up a baseball, and that was towards the beginning of June. So he's still a ways away, and you really have to see how that PRP treatment is going to take. Is he going to respond well to it? Some pitchers do, some pitchers don't. And, yeah, I mean, he's on the 60-day IL for a reason, and that put him out until mid-July. So will he be back right when that 60-day IL ends? I find that hard to believe. I think there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding Dustin May. And, hey, like I said, he received that PRP shot. Hopefully that helps him avoid surgery. But we don't really have a true clear picture as of right now. But, yeah, I mean, he had a 2.63 ERA, a sub-1 whip, 34 Ks. I mean, he was definitely on his way to possibly making a run at his first career All-Star team. But I think that you just have to look at him as the icing on the cake, as a bonus, and you can't say, okay, we're going to rely on Dustin May coming back and being lights out. We're going to go out there and give ourselves some insurance, and we're going to be aggressive and proactive and say we're going to get ourselves a starter. But haven't heard too much on Dustin May. It's a little concerning. Yeah, definitely concerning. But like I said, there's just nothing to report. I mean, he's on the 60-day IL for a reason. You're not eligible to come back until towards the end of July anyway. But yeah, you just keep your fingers, keep your toes, keep everything crossed that he can avoid surgery. I mean, even if he comes back and it's a very slow play, if he can avoid surgery and those ligaments are intact and you don't have to be a double TJ guy, that to me is going to be a win. But we got no antiques in Dodgerland. Make the Mets eat crow. Blake Snell might be available soon. That's from Luis Alvarado. D-Mac, what up, Moose? Fire take. Kersh making a run for Cy Young. That's from Art3502. You want the fire take? Got you.
Fire take.
Did JD get his 300 ball from the fans? That's a great question, Jay Silva. We'll find out after the game. Hopefully he did. Hopefully gave him a bat, some batting gloves. Who knows? But I want to see Fresh Prince of Bel-Air get the MVP for Bel-Air. Hey, man, as long as let's do baby steps. He's definitely going to make the All-Star team. I think I would take him over Sean Murphy every single day of the week. But, yeah, hopefully we cross that bridge and we check that box off, and then we can start worrying about other awards and accolades. And I'll tell you, this is a guy who just loves to play. This is a guy who just loves to just go out there. By the way, if you saw, I dropped my video on being at the Dodgers Gala today, and I talked to Will Smith, and I mentioned the fact that, hey, people say that we look alike, and I take it as a compliment. I don't know how he takes it, but go ahead and check that out. There is a video of us together at the same time, so we can put an end to the rumors that I am Will Smith, although I wish I was an all-star catcher for the Dodgers. But Muncy producing at the pizza table. That's from Michael Chapman. We got, who do you got? What starting pitcher do you want to see the Dodgers trade for? We'll get on that one. F the Astros. That's from Michael. We got JD, J-Kid 323. Julio's out of shape. He needs to lose 30 pounds. J-Kid, Julio is Looking at Svelte as I've seen him in a while, he definitely has trimmed up. He's putting in the work. I saw him running up and down Dodger Stadium and the stairs a few weeks ago before he got injured. So, yeah, I think he's definitely focused. And I think, like I said, I think you are going to see the best version of Julio Urias. I think you're going to see a locked-in Julio. I think you're going to see the Urias once again. I truly believe that in my heart of hearts. The velo was down. The mechanics look rocky. You're seeing the pitch mix. The changeup wasn't effective. The slurve wasn't as effective. You saw him making mistakes out of the plate. A lot of that he was pulling. The consistency, the repeatability of his mechanics wasn't as good. The feel wasn't as good. And I think the additional time on the IL definitely helped him. By the way, my friend, Mr. Tim Rogers, my good friend, he interviewed Julio Urias. So go check him out on Dodgers 2080. But Ariba, we got D-Mac. Would you like Zach Greinke back? Strider, hear you. I always, look, man, I don't care if Zach Greinke. It could be like 60 years from now, 20 years from now. I would love Zach Greinke, man. Dylan Cease from Justin Lamas. Yeah, look, Dylan Cease. The thing about Dylan Cease is it's, first of all, Dylan Cease, we know, I think that's a guy that you say, okay, this is an ace that's built for October. He's built for the bright lights, the postseason, a 27.8 strikeout rate. ERA is not very pretty at 4.84. The FIP is a little lower at 3.87. But I think in the Dodgers' hands, Dylan Cease would thrive. I think Dylan Cease would thrive in the Dodgers' hands, playing with this organization, learning from Mark Pryor, learning from some of these other great pitchers. So, yeah, I think that'd be an interesting move. But for him, it doesn't make tons of sense from the Dodgers standpoint when you look at the amount of team control that he's under. I mean, he still has 2 more arbitration years left. And when you have that many arbitration years and you're the White Sox, you can say maybe there's a guy, if we retool quick enough, maybe he can help us win next year or a couple years down the line. But regardless, that's going to take a lot of prospect capital to get a deal in C. So I would think that one is pretty unlikely. We got top of the ninth, D-backs 8-4 over the Rays. Ooh, that's from Joe Bennett. So there you go. The Dodgers will remain 3 games back most likely. Muncy can't hit a beach ball. That's from John Wilcox. We got Braves looking unstoppable right now, but hopefully they are last season's Dodgers. That's a great take, Ray Barrios. You don't want to peak too early, right? We saw that last year when the Dodgers peaked in the summertime and not the end. But D-Mac is the best. Thanks, David. Appreciate you. D-May for closer, Muncy for AAA, Jay Bullitt. Hey, I said that a few weeks ago. Dustin May, give me the final 3 outs of the World Series, and I'll be fine with that. But I think eventually, if he doesn't clean up those mechanics, I think Jay Bullitt, TC, you're onto something. I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, that possibly he does become a reliever at some point in his career if he can't stay healthy as a starter. But yeah, a couple more here, guys. We'll let you out. Trade for Corbin Burns while his value's low. Hey, I would not be against that. He's under 1 more year team control. I just watched the video. I need Snell to go. Stop it with Greinke. I want Bieber from Chicken D's. Hayward on a minor league contract was a diamond in the rough. Absolutely. Thank you very much to the Chicago Cubs. Kershaw, player of the game, also Martinez. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Dodgers Nation post-game show. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all things Dodger baseball, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.